I've been collecting 1911s for years. Like many others that are new to the industry, I started with more inexpensive production 1911s initially. Whether it was Kimber, Springfield, Remington, or others, I just enjoyed the look, feel, and shootability of the 1911 platform. It wasn't until I became more involved in the gun world and had a higher credit card limit that I was able to dabble with some of the upper echelon end of the spectrum. Since then, I have owned and fired 1911s from Wilson Combat, Nighthawk, Ed Brown, and Guncrafter Industries. In each instance, I was instantly wowed by the quality, fit and finish, and attention to detail with each one. While they all had differences that could be appreciated, they were all similar in that they were high quality, crafted tools built with longevity in mind. Until a few weeks ago, I didn't even know that Rock River Arms ever built 1911s. And that's embarrassing for me to say since they're in my home state of Illinois and I've been very familiar with their ARs. But what I learned was that for a brief period, RRA had built some of the highest quality custom 1911s on the market. Now, digging through YouTube, I could hardly find any information, which was kind of discouraging. Then, I stumbled into the Reddit rabbit hole and away I went. A couple weeks later, I found this unfired beauty on Gunbroker, and oh boy was I in for a treat. As soon as my FFL handed me the pistol to inspect, my jaw hit the table as soon as I released the slide. The smoothness was incredible, as was the sound, or lack thereof. What I mean by that is that if you've racked as many 1911s as I have, you pick up on distinct sounds you expect to hear. Whether that's sounds from the spring, or the slide riding along the frame rails, or the guide rod, or anything else that has any metal-to-metal contact. But for the first time ever, I didn't hear any of it. Not only that, but this was the first 1911 I had ever bought with a carry melt job. The finish itself is Cerakote, but the melt job just makes the whole pistol look and feel like glass. But I knew I had to take it home and break it down to see why it didn't make any noise, and I wanted to see how it compared to other high-end 1911s I had owned. It didn't take long for me to find out. As soon as I went to loosen the bushing, I noticed a scuff on the finish and on the nose of the slide, and I wondered to myself, man, what kind of idiot tried taking this thing down before me? I was sure that some amateur had owned this previously and didn't know what they were doing. Boy, was I humbled, and quickly. I've taken down scores of 1911s with barrel bushings. Most times, I can do so without the provided bushing tool. I found out in 2 seconds that wasn't happening. So no biggie, right? I'll use the provided tool. And then I realized that this is by far the tightest barrel bushing I have ever handled, and it's not even close. It took a couple of prayers and a few Hail Marys, but I finally got it to budge to release the spring tension, and finally to the other side to remove the bushing altogether. Removing the bushing took another few prayers and a couple more Hail Marys, but it finally budged. But at no point did I feel like something was stuck or wrong. You could just tell by the way it was moving that it was due to the insanely tight tolerances. Then it came to me. This is a cart bushing and barrel pairing. It's guaranteed to perform at 1.5 MOA or better at 50 yards, which is extremely impressive. And so there I was, marveling at the interior of the slide, the barrel, and everything else under the hood. The finish is incredibly slick, albeit stupidly tight. Putting it back together was another shit show, and of course, I scuffed up the same points the previous owner had. I couldn't help but to smirk, feeling that I was put in my place. But I was equally awed by the fact that this level of detail to tolerances and fitment went way beyond anything I had ever experienced with the other manufacturers I mentioned. Then came the real test at the range, and once again, it took just a few seconds to understand why this 1911 was special. To put it lightly, the pistol is a hell of a lot more accurate than I am. But when I really took my time and controlled the controllables, I was punching through the same hole at 10 yards and consistently. When I returned home, it was a foregone conclusion. This is the best 1911 I've ever owned, and it's not even close. It broke my heart knowing that RRA doesn't make them anymore. Or do they? They still list them on their site, but they don't have an option to order one. And they aren't cheap either. This tactical model starts at $37.30 with the standard barrel and bushing option, not the cart. And that price doesn't include the one-piece fitted magwell, carry melt job, ambi safety, and a few other options that you see here. On the second-hand market, however, you should be able to find them in the mid-$2,000 to $3,000 range. And in my humble opinion, that's a damn steal for what you're getting. I have never been more happy to stumble upon a firearm that I had zero knowledge about in such a short time ago. And I have never been a bigger advocate. Bravo Rock River Arms, and please keep them coming. If you enjoyed this content, leave a thumbs up. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Until next time, stay safe and may God bless the Republic.